Hi there, and welcome to Hibbert's Hangout. Today on the channel we've got a game of Marvel Crisis Protocol, in which it will be the Dark Dimension, taking on the Midnight Suns. The threat points being played today is 19, with the new threat of intrusions open across city as seals collapse, which is 3 dark portals on map C. You gain a victory point for securing a portal. You can interact with it if you pay a power, and that can teleport you to another portal, but you will take a point of damage. Also today is the alien ship crashes in downtown, which is 3 rubble piles again on map C, and you secure 2 victory points if you hold on to the Kree power core. So we'll show you the squads after this and get into the game from there. So the Dark Dimension today consists of Dormammu, MODOK, Baron Mordo, and Hood. Tactics cards for the Dark Dimension include Dark Restoration, Psychic Fortress, Aim Lackeys, Dark Empowerment, and Hood's Gang. The Midnight Suns today being led by Blade, Moon Knight, Ghost Rider, Dr. Voodoo, and Iron Fist. Tactics cards for the Midnight Suns include Bats the Ghost Hound, Siege of Darkness, Banishment, Seance, and Deal with the Devil. So here's the board setup for today's game. Pretty straightforward, as it's just across map C along the middle of the map, with 3 rubble piles and then 3 dark portals underneath them. So after deployment for the Dark Dimension, we have Hood on the left hand side, the 2 big boys MODOK and Dormammu in the middle, and then Mordo off to the right hand side. The Midnight Suns have Dr. Voodoo on the left, Iron Fist, Blade in the centre, Moon Knight on top of the building, and then Ghost Rider off to the right hand side. So it was Mordo getting things started for us, who did 2 minion movements to get within 1 of contesting range of the portal, and paid 1 of his 2 power to interact with the power core. However, we did not find it over there. Up first for the Midnight Suns was the Iron Fist, who did 2 minion moves to get within contesting range of the portal, paid his power to interact with the core, and he was also unable to find it. Next for the Dark Dimension was the Hood. He did 2 minion movements to get within contesting range of the portal, also paid his power, and was also unable to find the core. Same thing can be said for Brother Voodoo, who did 2 minion movements to get within contesting range, and paid his power, and was also unable to find the core. Then for the Dark Dimension was the big man himself, Dormammu, again doing 2 minion movements to get within contesting range, paid his power, and was unable to find the core. So then we had Ghost Rider moving up medium, did a double move to get within contesting range, played his power, and was able to find the core. However, since he's unable to make an attack action, he will be taking 1 point of damage. So then we had MODOK, who did a short advance to get within range 4 of Brother Voodoo, shot into him with a psionic bolt, and got through for 3 damage. So for the Midnight Suns was Blade, who did 2 minion advances to get within contested range of the Dark Portal. And to finish things off for round number 1, Moon Knight followed Blade off of the rooftop, 2 minion moves to get within contested range of the centre of the Dark Portal. So this is how we're looking at the end of round number 1, with the Midnight Suns controlling the left hand side and centre portals, and then Ghost Rider holding the Kree power core over on the right hand side. So at the end of round number 1, the Midnight Suns will go up 4-0, 2 for holding 2 of Dark Portals, and 2 for holding the Kree Power Core, as we head in to round number 2. So in the power phase, thanks to Flames of the Voltine, MODOK will be taking a point of damage as he goes up to 7 power, and then Dormammu will be gaining a power as well. He started things off with a Bolts of Bishru, which got through 2 damage with a Hex, and then he followed that up with a Reigns of Ragador, which got through for 4 damage, which would inflict the Incinerate and Poison condition. However, that's enough damage to daze Ghost Rider, so he has dropped the power core back there as Mordo has no power to pick it up. So first up for the Midnight Suns was Moon Knight. I forgot to mention it last time, but due to his multiple personalities, it was rolled. It was a skull, so there was no effect on the first round. This time he got a shield, so he gains an extra power. So he did his 2 minion movements and spent that extra power to pick up the Kree power core. So then for the Dark Dimension was MODOK, who did a short advance, then spent his power for a Doomsday chair which got through for Brother Voodoo for 4 damage, inflicting a bleed. So he is dazed, and then got through for 3 on the Iron Fist. And then MODOK spent some more power for Bow to the Will of MODOK and pushed the Iron Fist away short. So then we had the Iron Fist, who start things off by paying a power to use the Midnight Sun's leadership, Bump in the Night, just so then he could get within range to do a flying kick into Hood, which got through for 1 damage, which meant that the Iron Fist got placed within 1. Hood then transformed into Hood Possessed. Iron Fist followed this up with a Cheese Strike into him. However, thanks to his Possessed by demonic resilience, Hood reduced the incoming damage down from 3 down to 1. So Hood's going to be taking 2 points of damage. So then it was Dormammu for the Dark Dimension, who just did 2 Shadow Bolts into her Blade, getting through for 7 damage in total. So Blade will be dazed. So to finish off round number 2 was the Hood Possessed, who did some Razor Talons into the Iron Fist. However, that got through for 3 damage, which was all it needed to daze him. So then Hood has to transform back to his normal. And he just transformed there, and then decided to stay within 1 of the Dark Portal. So this is how the board looks at the end of round number 2, with the Dark Dimension controlling all 3 of the Dark Portals. However, Moon Knight is holding on to the Kree Power Core. So at the end of round number 2, the Midnight Suns go from 4 up to 6, thanks to holding the Power Core. And the Dark Dimension score 3 points for holding all the Dark Portals. Flipping the cards heading into round number 3 will be all of the Midnight Suns, apart from Moon Knight. During the power phase of round number 3, the Hood will be taking a point of damage, thanks to Dormammu's leadership, Flames of the Voltine. That means Dormammu will be getting an extra point of power. So in round number 2, it will be Iron Fist going first. However, every member of the Midnight Suns has paid 2 power to perform the Siege of Darkness, so they'll all get to make a 0-cost attack. So after the Siege of Darkness, starting on the left-hand side, Iron Fist did a Chi Strike for no damage onto the Hood, but did inflict the stun. Dr. Voodoo did a Spirit Venom, which got through for 3 damage, necessary to daze him. Over in the centre, Blade did a Katana Strike into Dormammu, which got through for 4 damage. Then Dormammu spent 2 of his power for Feel the Power of Darkness to push Blade away short and inflict the Hex condition. And over on the right hand side, Ghost Rider started things off with a Chains of Damnation into Baramordo, which got through for no damage, but did inflict the Hex. And then Moon Knight did some Throwing Crescents into Baramordo for 2 points of damage. And just to cover it here, as he was dazed, the Hood did use his Possessed by Nishanti to transform into Possessed Hood. So then the Iron Fist did start things off, who spent all of his remaining power for the Iron Fist, which got through for 3 damage, and dealt out the activated token to MODOK, so he won't be getting a turn this round. They did a flying kick into him for no damage. So then we had Dormammu. As you can see, he's no longer in the centre of the board. Instead, he's paid his power, got a hit, so he was able to choose where he went. Went through the portal to the right-hand side, so he suffered a point of damage. However, he then spent his power for Incantation of Obliteration, which would have dealt 7 damage to Moon Knight, so he is dazed, therefore dropping his Kree Power Core, which Dormammu spent power to pick up. But before that, Ghost Rider spent 2 of his power for Wicked's Judgment. As Dormammu rolled 2 crits, he suffers 2 points of damage. So Dormammu turns his attention to Ghost Rider for a Shadow Bolt, which got through for 3 damage on Ghost Rider. So for the Midnight Suns was Ghost Rider, who did a Penance Stare into Dormammu, which would have left him with just 1 point of health remaining. So instead, he spent 2 power for Bats the Ghost Hound to change 1 of his blanks into a hit. Therefore, Dormammu is dazed, dropping the Kree Power Core, which Ghost Rider spent his last power to pick up, and then he's moved away, needing him trying to secure the core. So for the Dark Dimension, MODOK has spent 3 of his power for Aim Lackeys, giving Baramordo an extra move. So then it was Mordo who used that extra medium movement, to get within range to a Bolts of Bishru into Ghost Rider, which got through for 1 point of damage. Mordo followed that up with a Reigns of Ragnar, which dealt 4 points. So Ghost Rider is out of the game, dropping the power core just outside of 1 of Moon Knight. So next up we had Brother Voodoo, who spent 5 power to inflict MODOK with a Brother Daniel token. Therefore, he will no longer be contesting that portal. He then did 2 spirit burns into Modok, however only one of them got through for 1 point of damage. To finish things off in round number 3 was Blade. He did a medium move, however that just wasn't enough to get within range to pick up the Kree power core, so he spent 1 for bumping the knight, then spent an extra power to pick up the core, and then he spent 4 power for Knight of the Damphir into Mordo, who blocked all the incoming damage, but he's inflicted with bleed. Blade then gets a move after, so he did a medium move, pretty much back to where he came from. And just to make sure I cover it, Blade has also paid 1 of his power for Half-Blood Physiology to remove the Hex condition from himself. So this is how the board's looking at the end of round number 3. The left-hand portal is controlled by the Midnight Suns due to Modok being unable to contest it. Blade's hanging out in the centre, holding onto the Kree power core, and over on the right-hand side, Mordo does secure the Dark Portal, the Dark Dimension. So at the end of round number 4, the Midnight Suns move from 6 to 9 due to holding 1 of the portal and 2 for the Kree power core, and the Dark Dimension go up from 3 to 4 for having 1 portal held by Mordo. Flipping the cards for the Dark Dimension will be Dormammu and Hood, and for the Midnight Suns will be Moon Knight as we head in to round number 4. In the power phase of round number 4, suffering a point of damage due to Flames of the 14 is both Modok and Hood, as neither of them were able to get rid of power, so they're both over 6. So then first up was Hood Possessed, who started things out by paying his power for an Empowered Dark Lightning onto Brother Voodoo, which got through for 4 damage and dealing the shock condition. He then transforms into Hood Normal, so then he played the tactics card Hood Gang, in which he gets 1 reroll, which he then did a Dark Lightning into Brother Voodoo, which got through for 3 damage, so he's out of the game. And also just to cover it, Iron Fist took 2 from the Empowered Dark Lightning from Possessed Hood. So the Iron Fist decided to try and take out Modok. He did a flying kick into him, which got through for 1 point of damage, and then a Chi Strike. Modok blocked all the incoming damage. So then it was Dormammu who has suffered a point of damage for Dark Empowerment. Therefore, Mordo will gain whatever power the damage is dealt by the attack. And the attack that Dormammu chose to do was an Incantation of Obliteration, which would have done 9 damage to Moon Knight. So Mordo gains 5 power, and Moon Knight is out of the game. And just to cover it here, Dormammu moved part of his medium movement to still be within range of the Dark Portal, and then possibly have some fun with Blade on his next turn. So the best thing for Blade to do, unfortunately, isn't very flashy, but that is just to run away with 2 medium movements to make sure he can hold on to the Kree power core. So for the Dark Dimension was Mordo, who just did 2 medium movements to get him within contesting range of the center Dark Portal. So then it was Modok finishing things off in round number 4. He tried to do 2 Silent Blasts into Iron Fist, so he doesn't get his benefit from his Master of Martial Arts. However, Iron Fist blocked all the incoming damage. Modok did get 2 Wilder, so he sapped 2 power from the Iron Fist, which he spent for All the World's a Weapon to Modok, which he's thrown the Daily Bugle at the Iron Fist, and he blocked all incoming damage. So here's the board at the end of round number 4. The Dark Dimension hold all 3 of the Dark Portals, whereas Blade at the bottom of your screen holds onto the Kree power core. So at the end of round number 4, the Midnight Suns go up from 9 to 11 thanks to Blade holding that Kree power core, and the Dark Dimension go up from 4 to 7 due to holding all 3 of the Dark Portals as we head in to round number 5. Modok and Mordo will both be suffering a point of damage in the power phase thanks to Flames of the 14, and therefore Dormammu will gain some extra power. So it was the Iron Fist getting things started in round number 5, who did 2 Chi Strikes into Hood and has done the 4 damage necessary to take him out of the game. So next up we had Modok, who spent his power for a Doomsday Chair, which got through for 2 damage and inflicted the bleed condition onto Iron Fist. He then spent his power for a second Doomsday Chair, rolled poorly, so he spent his last 4 power for some extra rerolls. Still only rolled 2, and Iron Fist was able to block all the incoming damage, so he's still alive with 1 point of health remaining. So then Blade, for his 2 actions, has just done 2 medium movements to run as far away as he can to try and hold on to the Kree power core, but he will suffer a point of damage. So then we had Baron Mordo Trying to catch up with Blade. He has just done 2 minion movements to get within range to try and do something to him next turn. And to finish things off is Dormammu, who just did his 2 minion movements to stay within one of the center portal to make sure he's controlling that. So at the end of the round, the Dark Dimension are holding 2 of the portals, and Blade is still holding on to the Kree power core. During the cleanup phase, Dormammu spent all 6 of his power to bring back the hood within one of the center portal. At the end of round number 5, the Dark Dimension go up from 7 points to 9 due to holding 2 of the dark portals, and the Midnight Suns go from 11 to 13 as we head in to round number 6. During the power phase, Mordo will be suffering a point of damage due to Flames of the Voltine. Dormammu will gain an extra power. We had Iron Fist starting things out in round number 6, who spent all of his power for an Iron Fist into MODOK, which got through for 2 damage necessary to daze him. However, if it hadn't, it would have given him the activated token, and for his second activation, Iron Fist just shook his bleed. So, for the Dark Dimension was Dormammu, who spent a power to go through the Dark Portal, then followed that up with a medium movement, then a Shadow Bolt into Blade, dealing 6 damage. So Blade's been taken out, dropping the Kree power core. Dormammu spent a power to pick it up. So then we had Mordo for the Dark Dimension, who did 2 minion movements to get him within contesting range of that Dark Portal on the left-hand side. He's taken a point of damage from his bleed, but he will be able to secure that over the Iron Fist due to still being on his healthy side. And finally was the Hood in the centre, who just did a slight repositioning to get within the left-hand side of it, but stayed there to secure it for the Dark Dimension. So here we are at the end of the round. You have Dormammu at the bottom of the screen, getting 2 points for that Kree power core, and then Mordo securing the left-hand Dark Portal, with the Hood securing the one on the middle. So at the end of the round, the Midnight Suns score 0 points, whereas the Dark Dimension matched them on 13 for holding 2 of the Dark Portals and 2 for holding the Kree power core. This will actually take us to overtime. Pretty sure the Dark Dimension are going to pull out the victory here, as there's just Iron Fist left, but we'll play it out and see what happens. So during the power phase, once again dealing damage to his own team is Dormammu with Flames of the Voltine. This time it's dazing Mordo and dealing a point of damage to the newly flipped MODOK, leaving him with just 3 health remaining. So we'll see what Iron Fist chooses to do from there. So Iron Fist started things out with a Chi Strike for 1 point of damage to our MODOK, then did a Flying Kick. This did 3 damage, so MODOK has been taken out of the game. And then we had Dormammu, wanting to end things on his terms, did a medium move to get behind Iron Fist, and spent his power for an Incantation of Obliteration, dealing the 2 damage necessary to take Iron Fist out of the game, and sealing the win for the Dark Dimension. So there we have it, Dormammu and the Dark Dimension able to pick up the win in overtime. Due to finally taking out the Iron Fist, they were able to hold on to the Kree power core and secure the portals. That would have taken them up to 17 points, with the Midnight Suns not gaining any. So there we go, another impressive showing for Dormammu and his Dark Dimension. It's always fun to get some new models on the table, like Hood, Mordo, Moon Knight, Blade, Brother Voodoo. So always nice to try them out. Occasionally I do miss things, so if there's anything you think I have missed, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a like, possibly even a subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.